Okay, so we are back with the last part for this session for today, where we are going to talk about action research and participatory design. So there might be cases when we would simply like to use research to inform practices, if you would like to enact a new change or to, let's say, transform conditions in some way. And this is when we need to use action research, because we might not simply be interested to conduct research that its aim is to identify, describe, explain, or understand one issue or phenomena like we have discussed so far. So in these cases, we simply would like to inform practices, to enact change, or to transform particular conditions. And that's where we use action research. And in this lecture, we are going to identify particular situations where this particular type of research might be more useful to investigate a research problem, issue, or topic. We'll also try to describe the characteristics and purposes of a number of designs of action research. We have teacher research, design-based research, participatory action research, and then community-based research. We'll also describe the different strategies and approaches that the researchers can use to design and implement these kinds of research, like the development of research question, how to prepare and get ready for data collection, how to collaborate with different entity stakeholders, as well as how to identify a number of approaches and venues on how to disseminate and communicate the findings from action-oriented research studies that go beyond simply reporting findings and then seek to enact changes. So when we talk about action research, or participatory action research, we refer to a type of inquiry. And the aim of this kind of inquiry is to use research, as I said earlier, not simply to describe or understand an issue or phenomenon. The aim of this kind of research is to take action and to make concrete changes and transformations in conditions, resources, practices, or policies in this case. So these action-oriented models, these tend to be highly collaborative and do challenge traditional divisions between the researcher and the research. Because in action research and participatory action studies, these researchers are, in most of the cases, the members of the group that is being researched. So they might be, for example, teachers who are interested in better understanding their students' learning and then to develop new and more effective teaching practices, or they might be young people who are, for example, attending a community center that would like to address violence in their community. So simple, we are not talking about two different groups, the researcher and those being researched. So these are simply the same people. We said teachers and students, and then someone being part of the community and then researching, let's say, within that particular community as well. And as I said, there are many designs that do fall within this umbrella, and these four are the most, let's say, the widely used or the most prominent ones. So we have action research, which is conducted by teachers, which is also known as teacher research. We have the design-based research, DBR. We have also the participatory action research part and youth participatory action research, YPAR. And then we have the community-based research design. So when we talk about the first one, the action research or teacher research, this is something that is most commonly conducted by practicing teachers and other, let's say, individuals who are interested in educational outcomes. However, the name itself says that it is teachers' research. So as a specific category of research, it is a form of action-based research where teachers and other educational stakeholders, they do systematically, let's say, investigate an issue or topic of interest to them. And the why they do this investigation is simply to inform their own practices and enhance the student learning and outcome. So if they would like, let's say, to change things or new teaching method, to develop new things, so simply they do research for their own purposes in order to inform their own practices, what they need to change, what they need to do better in order to enhance the student learning and outcomes. So rather than designs in which research is done on and about the teachers, simply in these kinds of research, teachers do conduct research for themselves, and often what they do investigate actually their own practices. So when we talk about these kinds of research, there are usually four steps that are suggested. First of all, we'll need to determine the research question that when at the end we are going to answer it, can help us to derive concrete strategies in the here and now. So how to do things better and how to enhance current practices. We need to then collect data that might help us to answer the research question that we have identified. Next, we move to analyzing and interpreting the data. This interpretation will need to be done in relation with the research questions that we have identified earlier. And then we do develop a plan for action. It's not plan for research, but plan for action, how we are going to move next and what we are going to do. So a key component when we talk about action research is simply we should have a concrete plan. So we have a problem at hand, and then we have to have a concrete plan how we are going to solve the problem at hand. That's why we are also obtaining these kind of data to help us solve the particular problem at hand. That's why it's important to remember that the results that we are going to obtain from this research that we are going to apply, those should be teacher oriented in these cases. Then besides, we do have also the design-based research, or the DBR. And this kind of research is used to produce theories and knowledge about learning and teaching that are grounded in a real life context. It also involves, let's say, manipulating these contexts in different particular ways, and then conducting and refining experiments and interventions so the researchers can make claims which are evidence-based about learning. As an example here, we have the development of instructional software that can help middle school students to learn how to control for confounding variables and confounding simple physics experiments. So it's simply these researchers aim to produce theories and knowledge about learning and teaching that are grounded in a real life context. As it was in these cases. So this shows that DBR itself, or the design-based research, is also an iterative process that actually entails conducting and then continually revising your experiments that you are going to conduct, and you revise these experiments based on an ongoing analysis that you are going to do, an ongoing evaluation of the evidence that you have collected during the interventions that you have had earlier in these cases. And that's why most of these DBR research, design-based research, is multidisciplinary. So it draws perspectives and methodologies from different variety of fields in education, as well as social sciences. Then we have the PAR, the Participatory Action Research, as well as the Youth Participatory Action Research. This is an action-oriented research which is rooted in the theory of Paul Freire, 1970s. He was an educator in Brazil, and he developed the notion of problem-posing education. So in this kind of perspective or notion of how to of problems posing education, the generative themes of students' lives were used by this researcher or scholar as a basis for instruction and education. Based on this, it was viewed as a liberatory and transformative act. So this participatory action research and the researchers that do this kind of research, they do disagree with the positivist view of research as being objective, impartial, and value neutral. So these researchers think that they conduct research projects that do involve, let's say, two-way reciprocal collaboration with individuals that are typically viewed as the subjects of the research, as well as those that do conduct the research. So this collaboration occurs at all stages of the research, from the initial design of the project to even final dissemination of the findings from this research. That's why what we need to remember, although there is collaboration, but still research members do share leadership throughout the process. And it's simply a reflection on this kind of design is reflection and praxis oriented. And the goal is to make transformative changes in social condition. In addition to the PAR, the YPAR is a type of PAR that usually involves only young people as co-researchers. It's simply useful instructional tool that can be used in classrooms or community settings. So these projects are often led by an academic researcher that works with a group of students, and it is done to design and implement a study and then identify and carry out a plan how to disseminate the findings. And usually the goal of these projects is to utilize the research process to help these youth people that are involved to acquire and develop important academic skills. However, both of these types of research are not without challenges. Particular challenges that these researchers do face is the non-traditional approach, which counters the notion of academic researchers maintaining complete control of their studies. Here, as we said, the researchers, as well as those research, do, let's say, collaborate in the research. And in most of the cases, it's the research members that do share leadership throughout the process, as we said earlier. And the last type of action research is the community-based research or community-based model and approach. So these models are usually bound in a particular community setting, and they do involve developing partnerships with that particular community organizations and groups. So what these kinds of research might or models might do, or projects, they do investigate health issues, disparities that might exist in particular community. They can also work with local public health organizations as well as hospitals in order to develop action plans. They can also work with health programming that do address different cultural and social needs of community members. And many of these models are, let's say, based on the beliefs that communities are a storehouse of resources and knowledge. That's where we can get them from, and the community members do have or do possess significant expertise and skills that can help us to provide insights on key community issues and problems. And then based on these insights that we get from these community members, we can then develop a plan, we can develop a strategy on how to solve those community-based issues. We have different types of sub-models of community-based research. The first one is the course-based action research, which is a type of research that integrates community-based research as well as participatory action research. And this is used as a way to bring together undergraduate students, faculty, and local community partners in order to undertake collaborative research projects that can help to benefit the community partners at large. And then we have the community-based participatory research. And this also employs collaborative as well as partnership approach to conduct research. In these cases, we have the communities, those are acknowledged for their strengths and resources, and these strengths and resources are then used as a foundation for this kind of research projects. And the last type of community-based research is the community-based qualitative research, and this builds on the traditional PAR research that we talked earlier. And here we use mainly qualitative methodology to investigate and then address issues and problems that are found in particular community settings through this kind of research. And many of these community-based qualitative research projects are collaborative. So the leadership in this project is shared with community partners and groups, and then projects are developed, implemented, as well as disseminated collaboratively from those doing the research as well as the members of the community. So as you can see here, the course-based action research, it has two main goals. First of all, it is used to foster a commitment to social justice on the parts of both the student and faculty, as well as to strengthen the connection between the university as well as the community in these cases. We discussed the community-based participatory research, and we said that it is simply built upon the notion of shared ownership that should provide relevant and useful findings for the community. And we have the last part where we discuss the community-based qualitative research, and we said that they use qualitative methodology not to only investigate but to also address issues and problems in particular within the community setting. And we said that these the researchers of the community do share their leadership. Usually these kinds of projects, they do start with orienting experiences that usually do help these researchers or academic researchers to learn more about the community and some of the issues that do pertain to this particular community. And they do also provide opportunities for dialogue between academic researchers as well as community partners. However, as with all the community models, even when we apply this kind of research, we have to know that it is time consuming, though we need to commit a significant time in conducting this kind of community-based research. As we said in the beginning, there are particular things that we need to know with regards to how to collect data and how to analyze the data when we conduct when we conduct this kind of action-oriented design. So the process of data collection for this kind of research is similar to data collection in other designs. And these are the key components that we need to follow. The data collection strategies are emergent, so they do emerge as we conduct the research. Data collection is iterative. We move back and forth in the process of data collection, and the data collection is collaborative and ultimately the result of a coordinated group effort between academic researchers as well as the those community members, to say, or those that or research participants in these cases. So the data collection in these cases is not guided by any, let's say, prescriptive or fixed like it was we discussed earlier. So although the researcher might let's say list how they gonna do this, however the data collection strategies will emerge as the research moves further. The same when we talk about being iterative. So the data are collected in iterative cycles that are informed by data analysis, for example. You might start with a focus group data, so they could reveal issues and concerns that would be later on explored by using, let's say, more in-depth interviews in these cases. When we talk about this kind of action research, one particular aspect is the dissemination or communication of the findings that you obtain from these action research projects. And the dissemination of these findings from these kinds of projects is done the same as when we talk to other research projects. And these are some of the main, let's say, places or methods that we can use to disseminate information or to find, let's say, information from these action research projects. The same, we can use journals and books. And this is the most commonly used and traditional dissemination strategy, especially when we talk about academia. So this is where we find most of the articles. In different conferences and symposiums, public forums and events, also program resources and materials, and also through advocacy and activism, where we can, let's say, disseminate the findings from this kind of research that we are going to conduct. When we talk about, let's say, community forums, it's important that we follow these particular guidelines that can be extremely helpful to us in order to effectively plan and conduct this kind of community forums. So if you would like to, let's say, to plan as well as conduct an effective community forum, it's important that you consider some of these guidelines. First of all, it's important that you meet with co-researchers and community partners in advance to co-plan the event. We said this is a collaborative effort. That's why you need to meet in advance and then plan together. You will have to identify an appropriate location. It's important that you choose a location that is easy to get, I don't know, via public transportation, so that all can have access to this place. It's important that you try to, widely publicize the event. So either you use leaflets, brochures that can be created and distributed to local organizations and businesses. So actually they get to know about this event. It's important that you also create a visual presentation. You can, especially nowadays, this is something that we can easily do. We do all have skills in, let's say, doing PowerPoint presentation. So it's important that you create a polished presentation by using, let's say, we mainly use PowerPoint, but still there are other softwares that you can use. And then in this kind of presentation, you provide information about the background, the context of the study, what are some of the key aspects, key problems that you are investigating, the design methodology, as well as the summary of the study's findings and the concrete ideas for action that you are going to follow. With the presentation, it's important that you prepare handouts, and these well-prepared handouts can help your audience members to better follow your presentation and to better be able to remember some of the key findings and recommendations that you are going to make in your presentation. In certain cases, it's important that you provide refreshments like beverages, light snacks, because this is a community forum, so that helps build this community. And it's important that if you do provide this kind of let's say refreshment, make use of local restaurants, catering services, or similar business, because by relying on local businesses, you in a way give another message, because you show them that you reach out to other community members in your efforts to bring about a change within that particular community. Also, you should provide any appropriate resources to the attendees. So it depends what the topic is going to be. However, you should provide, let's say, helpful resources that could take such forms as, I don't know, it depends if they do not speak the language, like interpreters, on-site childcare, so for those that have children, so they can attend the forum, or maybe free shuttle services for those that are not available to come to the event, and let's say a little, let's say, amount of money can hinder them from, and let's say, coming and attending these community forums. And you should also allow for sufficient time for questions and dialogue. This is something that we should do always at the end. So two-way conversation and exchanges of information are much more effective and useful than simply providing a more didactic or one-way, let's say, presentation or communication. And the last thing that you need to take into consideration is that you need to make sure that you are making the event available on the internet. Nowadays, this is extremely easy. So either you do it via a live streaming, especially many of the companies, they have their social media sites where they can easily live stream their event, or maybe that you can record the videos and then later on make them available either on your website or all your social media pages that you are administering in these cases. So that was all with regards to action research and participatory design. If you have any question that you would like to ask as we are concluding for today, feel free to do so.